Greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I am Del Barzi. And as always, if you like what you see and hear, subscribe, leave us a comment, and let us know what you think. So, here on Nurses Talking, we speak to nurses anywhere in the world and at any stage in their nursing career, from students through retirees and anywhere in between. And so today I am very pleased to welcome Braxton Fleming. Braxton is a licensed practical nurse, an innovator, an entrepreneur, and a brand new dad. So welcome, Braxton.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
I am excited to have you, really. So typically I want to know the why. So why people are nurses? Why are you a nurse?
Why am I a nurse? Honestly, I think it stems back to my childhood when my mom would say, you can't watch cartoons all the time. You have to watch something educational. So for whatever reason, I used to gravitate to the Discovery Health channel. And
Okay.
that's the Own It channel now, but it used to be Discovery Health a while back. And I used to watch the nurses on there. I actually wanted to be a plastic surgeon at one point in time because of Discovery Health. But ultimately, I really wanted to like impact people and I wanted to help people. And that was what really like drawn me to nursing, was honestly just watching Discovery Health and watching the doctors and the nurses on TV. I just wanted to be like that.
Yeah, okay, that's what grabbed you. So you watched it on TV, but
Yeah.
when you actually became a nurse, was it anything like that? Was it what you thought it would be?
No, absolutely not. Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. I mean,
So,
in an aspect, yes, because I feel like, I have a very, very close relationship with all my patients. Like when I come in, they know that things will be done for them. They know that I take care of them on a different level than most nurses do.
mm,
I think that's because I have a grandma who's about to be 102 right now, and I just see
nice.
her in them. So even like the hardest of the patients, like they always love me because I know how to talk to people the right way and, you know, take myself out of my life and put myself into theirs. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
realize I can go home at the end of the day. These people do not. And
Mhm.
that impacts them. So I think that I get that. Like that's what I really wanted. But the behind the scenes stuff, behind the desk, it's a mess. I'm not into it, but I really love my contact with my patients.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I'm glad you mentioned that about you being able to go home and them not, because that's a really, really big thing. And that sometimes is one of the reasons that people will lash out at you, even not even realizing that that's why.
Right.
Just
Right.
because you can walk out of this situation and there they are in it for whatever period of time. So yeah,
For
I'm glad you
sure.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
And that can be a challenge. That can be a huge,
It
for
can.
them and for you, that can be a huge challenge.
Yes, it is. But what I
Yes.
realized is that when you just cater to them, you're there for what, 8 hours, 12 hours. I worked 12-hour shifts when I was working.
Mm,
Um, and even if it's, it kills me sometimes, I just cater to them. And that's why I have
yeah.
a good rapport. I don't have that problem most nurses have because they have a power strike. I don't have a power strike. If you want something, it's ordered for you, you can have it. It's no
Yeah.
problem. And
Yeah.
I give off that energy to them, and they receive that back, and it makes my day a lot easier, it makes their day a lot easier, and we just move forward smoothly. And a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
nurses don't have that in them to do. They can't release the power of the medication.
So you said when you did work, so you no longer work as a nurse.
Well, it's really a weird situation right now. My daughter was just born. I told them I was taking a month off from work. I worked per diem. I was
Okay.
only working like one day a week and every other
Mhm.
weekend. But I told them, you know what? Hey, when my daughter's born, I'll still work every other weekend because I've been working every other weekend for like 4 years plus my full-time schedule at certain different times, a period of times. But either way, I told them, oh, I'll still work the weekend. They're like, well, Brax, we're kind of full staff right now. So we really don't need you to come in if you don't want to, because normally I'm the supervisor. So I'm always extra staff. They just put me on as a supervisor because I've been at this facility for so long that, like I'm more senior than all the nurses. So it's like, okay, we need Brax here on the weekends to make sure things are running smoothly. It's like me and one other girl that's been there for a really long time. Everybody else is new. But now that she's back from maternity, it's like they don't really need me to be there on the weekend. So it's like, I'm like, okay. But at the same time, like Shark Tank had just hit at the, ended September.
Yeah.
And, all the things with retail, there's so many different things with my business that just picked up literally right at the birth of my child, all at the same time of me needing to take off, but also kicking up on work as far as Stealth Bros at home. So I just been super busy and I just haven't, they keep calling me actually, but I'm just not, I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I'm just really confused because I have to grow my business and that's my main
I
priority right
understand that. I understand that. And that is awesome that there is some place that is full staff because, all I'm hearing is short staff, short staff, short
now.
staff, short staff.
Well,
So
they go, they go through the wave. They do a big hire, they get everybody in
uh,
there, and like for 2 months, everybody's staffed. That's why they're calling me right now because now that's not what's happening. They're losing it and they know they can rely on me because I've been there for so long. Now they're reaching back out like, Brex, come on, you want to come back to work? But I don't know. I'll have to, I actually going to think about calling her later today, but ultimately, I don't know if I even have the time to do it. If I start to work,
yeah,
it'll be just cutting into my family time that I do
yeah,
have,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's hard decision.
Understood, 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 understood. So what areas did you work though?
I actually work geriatrics and I work pediatrics. So I actually work on two ends of the spectrum. But for the past like 4 or 5 years, I've been working geriatrics. But prior to that, for like 4 years, I was working pediatrics from like infancy all the way up to
Hmm.
age 6. So I even took care of a boy who was like 14 and he was a pretty big boy, but mostly infants and young kids, like really young, 3 years old, toddlers, things of that nature.
So just what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a nurse?
What advice? I would say that if you want to be a nurse, don't go in it because of the money, which a lot of people go into it for now because they know that they are guaranteed a certain income, which is great because everybody wants to secure their family. But if you don't have the passion to really help people outside of your paycheck, then you should not be in nursing because these are people's actual lives. Like I think that the nursing in general forgets that when you go to work every
Hmm.
day, you're tired of hearing the bells and the screaming and this and that,
Hmm.
but ultimately like these are human lives, like they have families, like they have lived a life prior to being in this circumstance. And if you can't understand that and have that passion to put your feelings to the side for those 12 hours, then don't do it. But if you have the heart and you really want to help people and you can handle the back end, which is a whole nother emotional state,
Yeah.
then you can do it. But it's definitely a hard job, it's definitely not easy, and we don't need any more nurses who are just like rude and not really there for the patient because we have plenty of those. So we need people who actually care about the people to be in that position. So yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
All right. All right. All right. So switching a little bit,
Yeah.
you are a business owner. What
Yes.
led you into entrepreneurship? You're an innovator because you created something
Yes.
and now it's a business. So talk to me.
Yes. I believe my business is just part of my life's path. It's my passion. It's really all of who I am made of as far as like my entrepreneurship. My parents are both entrepreneurs. I never wanted to follow the route of them because I saw how hard it was to like maintain everything, and I wanted something very stable. So that's why I went towards the nursing route. But in reality, the nursing helped me because it helped me analyze a problem within my community. And with those assessment skills, I was able to create something. And through that, through my transition, and all of that, it's just my life's path. It really just happened. It's really just God's will just put me in this position to, make way for my community and other communities too. Like there really is no one answer on why I started it. It's just part of my life's path. Like everything that I've been through has led me to this point, to be where I am.
And it's called Stealth Bros and Co.
Yes, Stealth Bros and Co. Yes.
Hmm. So what do you make?
So I make luxury medical dopp kits that are used for medical needs and personal needs. So ultimately, it's made stealth because we want the user to feel protected, especially because I started this off of my own community's foundation. And
Mm-hmm.
having safety for our community is really important. So I wanted to create something that I also align with. Um, and it's bros because obviously the community, and co for all our allied communities that we keep. So it's really a company I feel like that's made to just represent underrepresented communities that need a really luxury place to hold their medication, to not feel so, hospitalized by what they're going
Yeah.
through, feel
Mhm.
ashamed about it, because I know that taking an injection can be shameful because that's just how society has labeled these things. But I'm trying to turn that around and say, hey, look, this is just some part of some people's lives, and this is what they have to do. And, we can do it in a fashionable way and feel good about those things.
Mhm, 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 mhm. And what is your big vision for this company? Because I
My
see you
big,
are already in big spaces. You're already
yes,
on Shark Tank and in big spaces. What is your big vision for this?
my big vision for this really is just to be a household name for medical needs, period.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
love to change a lot of things, as far as like medical devices and even colostomy care and urostomy care. There's so many things that could elevate those people. And, I would love to have the opportunity to expand my business and just really just be a household name and expand to where I have my own warehouse. It's running functionably for me. And then beyond Stealth Bros, I don't think it's beyond Stealth Bros, but at some point, Stealth Bros will be so big that I will not be the only one running it. And there'll be so many moving pieces. So where does that leave me? And I feel like that leaves me in a position to speak to people about like my experience and my nursing skills, and trying to really like elevate the community and teaching them like better proper injection techniques, or just my life experience in general. And just kind of motivating people that they can be whoever they want to be, and they can thrive. Like you can do it. It's all about a mental space that you have to enter. And that's not just for trans people, that's for anybody who wants to elevate in life in general. So that's what I really want to do, like once everything is taken off and I can, like, I don't want to say relax because I don't think I'll ever relax, but
That is a
some point,
huge, 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 huge vision. And you
yeah,
said you don't want it to relax. I don't
yeah,
even see relax as you. As I said
yeah,
to you earlier, I saw you the first time I saw you was on Shark Tank, and that energy just came bounding through. I was like, oh my God.
yes. that's that's so awesome because I was so nervous up there. I'm telling you, I was like sweating so bad. Oh my Lord. It was very nerve-wracking, but it was a great experience. Super thankful for the whole thing. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. You looked good. Nervous
Thank
or
you.
not, you looked good there. You looked good there.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
So, things that I want to know. To come back to nursing just a little bit, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
the reason I'm going to ask you this question. Is because we're talking a lot these days about nurses leaving the profession, and they're telling me that they're leaving because of short staff, they're leaving because of burnout, they're leaving because of politics, and all of that kind of thing. And I get it. I get it. Those things do exist. There's
Yes.
no denying that. But I really believe that one of the things that we're not paying attention to is ourselves, our own self-care, and that is a huge reason for the burnout. And that the pandemic highlighted that, very glaringly, that we're
Yeah.
not taking care of ourselves. So the question I have for you is, what does self-care mean to you?
Self-care means life to me. Self-care is everything. I put self-care above everything, even my fiance and the kids. Self-care and prayer for me means everything, because if I don't do that first for myself and I'm not full, there's no way that I can fill into my wife, fill into my kids. And as much as sometimes that may look like a sacrifice, as far as like me taking an hour out to the gym every day and I have to leave my daughter, like it hurts me too, but it's a discipline and a sacrifice that I know that's necessary in order for me to get the correct mental state to move forward, not just for myself, but for them too. And that that means everything. Like taking time out for yourself is everything. If you don't do that, you're just every single person that's successful, highly successful, takes time for themselves in the morning or at night or whatever it may be. They take a moment of of being sitting in gratitude and analyzing things, and that's something that I do every single day. So I think it's really important for self-care. It's literally the only way to thrive.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. And I bring it up every single time.
Yeah.
Just because being a nurse, makes you want to tend to put everybody else first.
Right.
Um, and typically the personalities of people who become nurses also tend to put people first, you
Yeah.
know. And there's nothing, that's not a terrible thing. That's not a bad thing. It's
Right.
just that we've taken it to the extreme where we forget ourselves.
Right.
Um, and I think it's taking an awful toll. And I really need to highlight that. So I'm glad you're taking time for you.
Yes, no, absolutely. It's a necessity for me because it's just not good. I don't want to say that I'm a negative person, but at the end of the day, like, you just have a sour attitude about certain things if you don't if you go too many days of just not having a little bit of time for yourself
Mhm.
and fulfilling that need, you end up expressing that energy on other people that really don't are not deserving of it,
Yeah.
and that it's a cycle. It's a nasty cycle. A lot of people live in it, you know what I mean? And
Indeed, indeed.
it's really sad, but that's why I always try to talk on all my platforms, and anytime I have an opportunity to speak, on a podcast or anything, I always say, like, how important it is to take time out for yourself, because it really can change your life. It really can, like, if you took time out for yourself just a little bit each day, you really could make a huge impact and move so much further ahead in your life,
Yeah,
because you stay disciplined to something, and that self accomplishment feels good, builds
yeah,
confidence.
yeah. It's right up there at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You're working towards the self-actualization thing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And it is good. It is good. It's a thing we need very desperately. Besides, other than being self becoming very sour, as you put it, we also become robotic. We get to
Right.
the space where we're just putting one foot in front of the other one and just doing stuff without even thinking of the impact on us and the impact on us, the people around us. So yeah,
Right, right. Yeah, that happens a lot. Like, nurses will just walk into a room, even if it's a patient who is, doesn't speak or whatever the case may be. Like, you should still announce yourself. You should still speak to that patient, even if you feel like they can't hear you or can't see you or
hmm
whatever the case may
hmm
be.
hmm
Nurses will just go in there, grab the G tube, start pouring the meds, moving them over. Like, come on, this is actually a person here. You know what
I
I
know.
mean?
Hmm
And people don't take that time
Yeah,
to really speak to them, and
yeah,
sad.
yeah.
It's sad, but
It can be
that's
sad.
why
Yeah.
when I have those patients, I really make it a priority to do that, because I just feel like it brings better energy in the room, and it's just
Absolutely.
it's nicer for the
Absolutely.
person. It's just not, because I know that if something happened to me, I would want someone to take care of me in the right way. And I also think about that a lot. Like, your life can change in a moment. Like, I can leave now and it could be all
Yes.
completely change. So you have to be thankful and, put yourself in that position. And what would you want? I would want someone to take their time on me, please. you know? So
I know. Exactly. But so often, and that is a very important point that you brought up, that it could be you.
right,
But um, that's one of the things that I think a lot of us don't want to think about, because it actually is, when you think about that, it's actually you facing your own mortality every single day.
right.
And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. So we kind of like want to push it aside and,
Well, it
not
really
deal with
should
it.
make people take a look at themselves. And I feel
It's
like
hmm
that's what it's done for me. And it's
yeah,
like, if you want to continue living the life you're living with alcohol consumption, ridiculous amounts, and eating all this junk and not working out and not taking your health to the next level as far as just being as healthy as you can be, you are asking to be in this position. Like, I know what it looks like from the diabetes not being taken care of. So that won't ever happen to me because I won't let my body or my mind allow that to
Yeah.
come over
Mm-hmm.
me,
Mm-hmm.
or even with the alcohol, I have drinks, I do have a drink once in a while, but I don't drink every day, like maybe like
Yeah.
my wife was pregnant, it feels like for a whole year. So there was that. There was no drinking during that period of time, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like you see these people, the outcome, what's going to happen to you
You know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm.
if you live that route. But people just live that route. Like, I don't care. I'm just keep on going. Like, I'm like, nah, if I can make a change right now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that change right now.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
want to live a long life. Like my grandma.
Like your grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she lives by herself and everything. She is walking, doing a thing, not forgetting anything. She's there. Yeah.
More power to her. More power to her. I love people like that. I was very fortunate to have someone like that also in my life. My mother-in-law lived to 109,
Oh, wow.
and
God bless her. Yes.
she was just like that and feisty.
Yes, yes. So is mine. So is mine. She is. She'll let you know. She'll tell you like, what? Yeah, no, she's like that.
I
She's
love it. I love it. I
mhm.
love it. So I'm asking this question because I'm collecting these words, Braxton. I can know. Sometimes I meet people or I see people, and I know that they're nurses without them telling me. And so that brought to mind the question of what is it actually about them that makes me know that they're a nurse? And so I'm asking this question: if you had to describe the most essential quality of a nurse in just one word, what would that word be?
This is a hard question. It
That's
really
what
is.
everyone says.
It's a hard question because it's very hard to put nurse into one word
It's
because
one word.
truly jack of all trades. If that is one word, then that's what I would label it with the
Jack
dashes.
of
So
all trades.
yes, because you really do have to be like, sometimes you have to be a parent to some of these patients, even when they're older, because that's their mental state.
Yeah.
Or, you have to, be a housekeeper in that moment. You have to be a partner, a loving person to them because they just need that TLC at that moment. There's so many things a teacher, because you have to educate them on what's right for them, what's wrong for them, which another thing nurses don't do. They don't tell their patients anything. They just go into the room and start telling them they're taking this and taking that without explaining to them why
Explaining.
or what happened or what the results were. Nobody says anything. They just go in there and start doing their job, which is just absolutely ridiculous to me. But either way, that's another problem. But yeah, I wish I could change things for nursing because I would. If I was billionaire status, I would definitely, after all my career endeavors were done as far as Stealth Bros, I would definitely turn around and go back to the facilities and make a change because I just don't like how it's ran at all.
Okay, so what would be the one most important thing you would change? What the first thing that would come to
Structure,
you that you want to
structure,
change? Structure?
structure, structure.
Mhm.
That's all it
Mhm.
needs. These places don't have any structure. There's no outline of how they supposed to truly be ran. Everyone's just coming in and changing. You get a new DON, they changed all the rules and sets and regulations. There's just too many people, too many bosses in these facilities rather than having a structured plan from the very top that trickles down and that's done efficiently. And people were trained efficiently and things were done in a specific way, then the facilities would run a lot smoother, just like the hospitals. Like the hospitals run smoother because there's a strict way on how to do things. They have structure and organization. Some hospitals, I will say the hospital around us is actually very structured. I love our hospital. But that's not everywhere. But compared to the facilities to a versus a hospital, the facilities need structure like the hospitals have in order to have them running efficiently because they're just all over the place at this moment.
Okay, so that brings to mind another question then, because a lot of nursing facilities are owned by a group, maybe, but now also a lot of large hospitals are owned by corporations.
Right.
And so do you think that the corporate structure that you see in most hospitals is what is what's the word I'm looking for? Is what is contributing to what you see as better structure as opposed to a nursing facility?
I guess, yeah, I guess you could say that because they just have things in place. It's very organized. You have a job, there's a specific thing for you to do. But with the facilities, it's more like sometimes you can have a staffing coordinator who's also your educator and also doing
Mm-hmm.
this, also doing that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
too messy. Things aren't being done appropriately or in the correct fashion. Thing people aren't being penalized in the proper fashion. Some people are being more penalized than others because the DON likes you because y'all went out last weekend, things of that nature, which is
Mm-hmm.
just out of control. That's something that should not be happening in the facilities, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's just what happens in all the facilities. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
really like free for all with the people that they hire. They know that they're hiring these people that just have zero respect for other people, but yet they're still putting those CNAs on the floor with these people and then wondering why the care is going down is because there's no structure in hiring. There's no structure in training. You get, oh, we're so short. We train you for 3 days instead of the 2 weeks you needed. You know what I mean? And this person has no idea how to clean someone properly. And now that person's family member is suffering because you decided to go the short way. But that's the problem with the facility. So that's something, I mean, I can't change the world, of course, but I would love to at least change the facilities in my reach that I could reach.
Ah, but you can change the world.
Possibly.
Oh, but
Hopefully
you
somebody will hear
can.
and want to invest in me and we can make a change.
Sure,
Sure.
sure, 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 sure. And you mentioned training. And for me, education and training is the root of all things. You cannot have, if you are not properly prepared, you cannot do a proper job.
Correct.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And preparing people properly, um, as you said, in many facilities, is not really standardized, and so you're not getting the same level of care in certain places as you may do in others, or the same level of customer service, or whatever it is.
Even when
And
it
and
comes
and
down to the state too, when the state
mhm,
visits,
mhm.
instead of the facility being proactive and saying, hey, look, let's really work together, let's buckle down, they want to throw their corporate state people in the facility to train you at a drop of a dime to see
I
how
did-
well you're doing, instead of
mhm.
saying, hey, look, Brax, we're going to have administrative state come in and review before the actual state comes in. We want to be prepared. We want to do things the right way. Like, it's no team effort behind the desk in nursing. Everything is just you do it. And if it doesn't get done, everyone just tries to blame somebody else for something else. It's a mess.
Well, there's a little poem about that my mother used to say. She used to go, there is a job that everybody could do,
Right.
but nobody did it because but everybody thought somebody else would do it. And
Right.
so nobody did it because
Nobody did it,
anybody could have done it.
but
Something like
anybody
that.
could have done it. Yes, that is the way of nursing. That is the way of nursing. Unless you have good nurses on the floor. There are some really great nurses out there.
There are
But
some very great nurses out there.
yes, there are some very great nurses out there, but they're not too many. Not too many. There's a handful of really great nurses, and it's just sad for the facilities. I don't know. I can't really speak on hospital work because I don't work in the hospital and I haven't had that many experience. So I don't think my opinion will be too valid. But as far as the facilities, I've worked in many facilities over the years and they're just all the same. It's just all the same. Yeah.
And so that's really one of the things, one of the goals that of this particular channel is to highlight A, where nurses are achieving, B, what we think we need to change, see how we can change it individually and as a group, and realize that the things that we are seeing are not unique to us or
Right.
to our facility or to our region or whatever. And that if that's the case, then as a group, certainly we should be able to do it. We should be able to make changes if we want to. So
Yeah, I would
more
hope so.
power to you, Brax.
Yes. That's a big task to tackle, but
it is,
Because
but
if I
it's not
was
impossible.
funded properly, I would.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. No,
fixing
not
it
at
is
all.
it's like bringing down your cholesterol, it didn't go up overnight.
Right. It's gonna take
And it
time.
won't come down overnight, but if you work at it, it will.
Yeah, that's very true. That's
Yeah,
consistency is key to all things.
consistency is key. So Braxton, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much for this conversation. I truly enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Good luck to you in all your endeavors. I wish you so much success.
Well, thank you so much.
Indeed.